And so everything is focused on the preaching moment, and the sanctuary is arranged so that the preacher is in the center and the altar is behind him. If you look, most TV preachers, they have very plain altars up front because it's got to do with the theology of the sacrament of the word, and that the preaching word is where God is incarnate in the service, and God is incarnate in the message of the preacher. So it's a different theology that ends up with a different structure to the sanctuary. Now what we try to do is we try to use both of them. For religious reasons and for practical reasons, it's a warmer service for the preacher to be in the center. He has greater relationship to the congregation. But also trying to get it right logistically with the lighting and everything else is better with the preacher in the center. And so we're going to try to get lights put up above the molding that will be aimed back at this way in this direction, so that there'll be a clear podium right here, like a see-through podium. And it'll be removable so that when we're not using it, we can take it away and put it away. But it'll be right here. This is where you preach from. And then lighting. To speak from this point right here in the middle, you have to have a lavalier mic, because we're not going to wire the floor and all that. Right. The other mics will be over there, so announcements and all the other kind of stuff will be done from those podiums. And then preaching will be done from this one.
Where's the choir? Yeah, what about the music?
The music?
Yeah, the choir.
Everything will be just like it was. Like I was going to have Elbert to come over and have him to start thinking about, wow, there is no construction over there. Mm-hmm. And there's no construction being done, so there's not, like, we got to rethink how that's done. We plan on getting a new sound system put in here, if we can. Get a new sound system put in, and so now that the sanctuary is done, there's not much chance of there being microphones attached to the ceiling or anything like that. There have to be microphones that can be moved around. But whatever that is, y'all need to talk about it and figure out what it is that you need and how you deal with the space. Part of the problem we had originally, the reason why we had service in the fellowship hall next door, was Jaramogi felt that you can't have a warm service in the sanctuary, it's so big. But the first time we came over and tried it, we only had about 5 rows of people. But he thought that the building itself was warm enough and that the service did still have a warm feeling. So we started worshiping over here a long time before he had planned to. I think we face the same problem with a certain number of people. How difficult is it to have a warm, inviting service when the sanctuary is so expansive? And so you're always interfering with your ability to expand your congregation, because basically what people are looking for when they come to service, they're looking for warmth. Mm-hmm. And if you have a sanctuary which seems cavernous and cold, that is not going to bode well in terms of you being able to get people to join your fellowship. Mm-hmm. So that's a challenge. We have to make the building as warm as we can. We have to make a concerted effort on the part of the congregation to make the service as warm as possible. And there's going to have to be just way more involvement of the complete ministry just to have service in a building this size. It just takes more people. And like right now, you open the doors and the people that are going to sing, they don't rehearse, they're going to sing, and the person's going to preach, they've got a sermon together, so they're going to preach. But you can't do that in the sanctuary this size. You have to have greeters, and your ushers got to be on point. Things that make the church what it's supposed to be, they have to be in effect, and the ministers have to make sure that they're carried out and make sure that the congregation owns it. In other words, the congregation got to feel like, I got to paint something, hammer something, repair something, fix something, so that when we come in the building, there's something that I've done. Right. Because for all this to be done, and the people who are enjoying it, they have done nothing, they're divorced from it. They don't feel the sense of belonging to it. The back hallway is the same color that it's always been. And so that still has to be done. the back hallway, the bathrooms, between now and whenever we open the building up. They'll be finished painting very shortly. They're already finishing here. So they'll be finished very shortly. And we'll be putting lighting and sound in and those kind of things. But we're very close to being finished. And if we just had to be, we could, we could be in business before Christmas. But we don't want to have a grand opening before Christmas when everybody else is having events and stuff and we're competing with holiday activities. We want to try to wait until after the first of the year and have a grand reopening. But in that time, we have to do the things that are going to get the building to where it's supposed to be, and that we've done enough so that we feel that we have participated in the restoration. And there's also the issue of interpreting that the restoration is not just the restoration of the physical building, but it's also the restoration of the ministry in total. It's restoration of ministry, it's restoration of the things we do, it's restoration of the groups. On some level, we got to come to peace with this is a group-based church. And that don't mean that you got to have the kind of meetings we used to have. But on some level, the group has to play a pivotal role in the spiritual development of every member, and we ought to expect it to do that. And that, like I said, that don't mean that the group got to play the same role it played before, like you had 2-3 meetings a week, or even a meeting a week. But the group got to be, in everybody's mind, an important part of how I function in church. If that means you having a once a week kind of thing, or once a month kind of thing, or whatever it is, it got to be meaningful and it has to be productive, so that the group being the center of our theological framework is back there. There got to be opportunities for people to improve themselves that people take seriously. Like equal on this side, we're going to have a curtain across both sides. So there'll be a curtain there, and a curtain over there, and a curtain over there. When we get something painted, when the muralists will paint the stuff right now. We don't have anything to go over there. And the idea that I was thinking about is, if over here you got where the church came from, then maybe over here if you could depict where the church is going. But how you depict that is the issue. And how you depict it in a space that it goes up and down like that it makes it more challenging. So I haven't come up with that, and the muralist is working with me to see if they can take something and work with it. But we haven't come up with that yet, so we just will cover both parts of it.